emissions requirements required for us to move forward. If we take hydrogen and reformat it directly from natural gas, technology available today, we achieve a 200 gram per mile equivalent. That's half of the very best that we can get out of gasoline today. And if we go to hydrogen made from central wind electrolysis, it's almost untraceable. We actually achieve the goal of leaving nothing behind the vehicle but water vapor. Natural gas is an abundant domestic resource. We have it in quantity. 11 billion kilograms of hydrogen already produced from natural gas in North America, and 60% of this, enough fuel to power 21 million hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, is used to clean up petroleum in refinery operations today. Natural gas-based hydrogen used to power hydrogen fuel cell vehicles is less than half of the greenhouse gas emissions of a conventional gasoline-powered vehicle. And looking forward, hydrogen with near zero greenhouse emissions is possible, both from nuclear biomass and renewable electricity. In fact, solar arrays are in operation today that are producing hydrogen at generation efficiency twice of the Department of Energy's 2015 goals. This is not future science. This is science of today. Myth number 3 is associated with hydrogen fuel cells is that no good storage mechanism is available for transportation. Most companies today use a 10,000 psi compressed hydrogen tank. Vehicles use this storage tank. Technology had been able to go up to 300 miles. It is the technology that was in the vehicle that I drove from my home in Corning, New York, all the way down to Washington, D.C. Compressed hydrogen offers all the capabilities needed to begin commercialization of vehicles today. This, like all continuing research that goes on around the world, will progress, but it is a reality as we know it today. Let's talk about myth 4, which in fact is probably the most daunting issue facing America. And Madam Speaker, I appreciate your indulgence in what is an increasingly technological conversation. Distribution infrastructure isn't there, and there are no plans to establish it. That's myth number 4. The reality is that the infrastructure challenge is solvable. Stations are here now. And according to the National Hydrogen Association in the United States, we currently have 73 stations located around the country, most in New York and California, with 44 more planned over the next 2 years. Like the Eisenhower Interstate Highway System, or the international and national railroad systems, or our own aircraft and airport infrastructure, this will require a national involvement, a national government involvement, which will result in jobs, and lots of them. It will create entirely new industries, industries that cannot be exported, and it will be a tremendous stimulus to the U.S. economy in and of itself. To roll out this infrastructure, all we need to do is start with nodes and then connect them, and the work has already started. It doesn't require a miracle. It only requires the will and the national focus to do it. Here we see to my right several of the stations that have already been designed and implemented for commercial exploitation around the world, in places like the University of California in Irvine, in Germany, right here in Washington, D.C., where I refilled the hydrogen fuel cell vehicle that I drove from Corning, and in Berlin, Germany, where they've taken that design, and I will talk soon about its mass introduction throughout their entire highway system. Again, it doesn't require a miracle, only the national will to do so. Let's take a look at the next slide and see how we can actually manage this transformation and manage it quickly. We start with select high-profile stations, and then we move to the next stage, about 40 stations per large metro area. Here we see both New York City and Los Angeles, just 2 examples. 30 metro stations for the entire metropolitan Los Angeles area will provide a network where no matter where you are only 3.6 miles from a hydrogen filling station. Add 10 stations outside the metro area, and that's what you need to allow consumers to meet their average weekly and weekend needs. In Los Angeles, by the way, it's important to view the driving patterns of consumers. There's consumers who want to be able to drive to Las Vegas, San Diego, Santa Barbara, Palm Springs, and Big Bear. But they don't necessarily transit north to that extended range, and so this has a particular viability in Southern California. Similarly, in New York State, my home state, the potential for a hydrogen highway as described in previous work by the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. You can build nodes and link them together along roads like Interstate 90. But NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, recognizes that, and I quote, "As with any vision, barriers to achieving our goals exist. The support needed must come from a collaborative effort among industry, as well as between industry and local, state, and federal governments. Communication and cooperation will be required to overcome the technical, market, and policy challenges impeding the implementation of hydrogen energy systems." As a proof that this technology is here now, we only have to look at what's happening within the automotive industry, especially abroad, where foreign governments and car companies are teaming up to tackle the challenges of commercializing hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Let's take a look at some of those partnerships on the next slide. As I have said continually, the technology is here and here now. And those in the industry recognize the potential of hydrogen cars in the commercial market. Global automotive industries say that at the current pace, these vehicles will be on the road commercially by 2015. Major world automobile manufacturers have signed a letter of understanding as recently as the 9th of September of this year between Daimler, and they recognize the requirement of the synergy between hydrogen fuel cells and battery technologies. This letter went to energy companies all over the world and government organizations around their host countries. To quote that letter, allow me to say, over the last decade, governments, original equipment manufacturers, automobile manufacturers, and the entire energy sector have given special attention to the introduction of hydrogen as a fuel for road transportation. And they've given it the priority option to reach several goals associated both with emission management and CO2 reduction. Battery and fuel cell vehicles complement one another and can move us closer to the objective of sustained mobility. Honda, Toyota, Renault, Nissan, Opel and GM, Ford, Daimler, Kia, and Hyundai have all made significant investments and are moving ahead aggressively. But it is here in the United States of America, quite frankly with American ingenuity, that we have taken a leadership position that today is being threatened by a lack of partnership and a lack of vision. Let me quote further from the letter that was put out by Daimler. In order to ensure a successful market introduction of fuel cell vehicles, the market introduction has to be aligned with the buildup of the necessary hydrogen infrastructure. Therefore, a hydrogen infrastructure network with sufficient density is required by 2015. The network should be built up from metropolitan areas via corridors into wide area coverage. Madam Speaker, others get it, and many in this country understand it as well. Foreign governments in Germany and Japan are listening to their automotive manufacturers. They are collaborating with those manufacturers to put in production vehicles in the market and in the marketplace by 2015 and explore simultaneously the need to overcome infrastructure challenges. Working to blanket their countries with a national hydrogen fuel station infrastructure that will free their countries from foreign oil, and we will be left sidelined wondering how this happened. In our next slide, the flags tell the story. Our competitors are passing us by. They will soon have government-supported fuel cell fleets on the road for research and development and prototype testing, as well as the infrastructure to support it. China, Korea, Japan, Germany are all in the fight competing with the United States, all moving forward aggressively and in fact faster than we are to commercialize technologies that we invented here in the United States. Their industries and their governments are working together. In Japan and Germany, long-term government-industrial collaborations have existed, and they are leveraging those collaborations and those partnerships